Statewide Policy Summit. We're delighted to have you here to participate and share in what we know will be an exciting and informative day. I would like to introduce the President of the Commonwealth Institute, Michael Cassidy.
It's a pleasure to see you all and to come together to talk about the key issues and challenges and opportunities that are facing Virginia. And it's a great way to kick off that discussion to have the governor with us this morning. And so it is a pleasure to introduce to you our 72nd governor, Terry McAuliffe.
And honestly, I have used the Commonwealth Institute. I cannot tell you how helpful. Anybody can use them. I just happen to call upon them more than anybody else because they have the best data. So I am a huge, huge advocate. And I thank you, Michael, for always being responsive. But in fairness, they're responsive to anybody. If you call them up and ask them, they'll get a study out for you, and no one does it better than you. So give Michael and his team another round of applause. Closing the coverage gap. I am passionate, as you know. People say to me, well, why are you so out front on? First of all, it's the right thing to do. It's not only the right thing morally, socially, but it's also the right thing economically. You all have heard me talk about this issue over and over. I got to tell you this, you cannot go to the RAM clinic. And how many have ever been to the RAM clinic? Well, good for you. I mean, as you know, this is it's out in Wise, in the remote area medical clinic. It is one of the saddest things I have ever experienced. Thousands of people show up 2 days ahead of time. They sleep in the mud and rain outside so they can get their chance to get in line to get 1 day of health care. And these doctors and dentists who come down, and over 1,000 people were turned away at 4 a.m. But you go, they're out in barn stalls and they're sitting with little sheets in between them. You see buckets of teeth. When we were there, a young man had all of his teeth removed. I said, why would you have all your teeth removed? Because down here, Governor, you don't understand. We equate teeth with pain. Folks, this is Virginia. And if these folks got in a car and drove 40 miles west and were residents of West Virginia, they wouldn't have to do this. Because West Virginia has closed their coverage gap. Maryland, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee is now lined up. We've got 27 states done, more lined up. And this is an argument I will continue to talk about. It is important. I thank all of you who worked hard on it. Please don't, we can never give up. I don't believe in giving up. In fact, the Commonwealth Institute just came out with a study that I think we save our budget $161 million. Now, as governor, I'm dealing with a huge budget deficit, which I inherited. It's all right, I'm a big boy, I get it. But the idea that I'm having to cut $45 million a year from higher ed for the next 2 years, and if I close the coverage gap, I wouldn't have to cut higher ed by 1 penny. I mean, think about it, folks. There are real consequences to this. I'm trying to build this new economy, build a workforce of the 21st century, and if we brought this money back, we wouldn't have to do any of that. It just makes no sense. And it is so important for us, and over 8 years, you're talking $26 billion of our money. We get to bring it back. We're aggressively now going after, if there's federal money up there, bringing that back, and it is so important. But I do want to thank you all for helping on that issue. We're not done with this, Ken. We're going to keep on fighting for this issue. But you know, I want you on all these issues. I am all in. We're doing great. We're creating a lot of jobs. I am very concerned about the folks we have today, the homeless issues we've got to deal with, those that are not right now getting access to quality education. We've got to treat our teachers better. I've tried to give our state employees a 2% pay raise. I put that in my budget. Unfortunately, the General Assembly took that out. I mean, we got to get in the game on these big issues. We will have an ethics package. As you all know, I put a $100 gift ban on myself. I think it's very important. We've got to do something about this partisan redistricting. You wonder why we're in the mess today. Well, you know, nobody has competitive general election races, so the only way they can lose is to get a primary challenges, which pushes you out. I mean, I'm in a battle today to get money that we pay in back to Virginia. I mean, I got to deal with the numbers in front of me. That's why I did the Healthy Virginia on my own, as you know. We did it. It wasn't a substitute, let me be clear. But I went back and did an executive order and authorized 4 emergency regulations. There are now 200,000 Virginians who are getting some increased type of care that they didn't have before. 45,000 pregnant women today in Virginia now get dental care that they didn't have. I was able to do that with the stroke of my pen. Our children of state workers weren't allowed to be on the FAMOUS program. We were able to change that with a stroke of the pen. 5,000 children now eligible to go into that. So I'm going to do everything that I possibly can myself, but some of this stuff requires legislation. And the idea that we're not bringing this money back. And this is why, we had almost every Chamber of Commerce with us. And you wonder why turnout was so low. You just saw this was the lowest turnout in 72 years. It was in the paper today. People have had it. They're tired of the partisan bickering. They're tired of things not getting done. They expect people when they get elected to do and work for them. And unfortunately, that's gotten lost, and people are sick and tired of it. And when we have a turnout like we had in this nation, the lowest in 72 years, that should be a message to everybody. Everybody. Stop the roadblocks, stop the partisan games, and you know what? Work for your constituents. That's why you're elected. If you don't want to do it, then get out of the job. Under $100 bucks.
Newfangled water cup that the kids today are using.
I'll tell you, the reason why I say this, recently I was at an event, and I got a lovely gift, and the guy gave me a gift, and he gave Dorothy a gift. And I said, under $100 bucks? He said, oh, brother, absolutely. I said, great. I took it home to Dorothy. She opened it up, unwrapped it, said Neiman Marcus. I said, that's not good, honey. So she went and got it appraised. I ended up spending, personally, I wrote a check for $350 for a scarf I didn't want and she didn't need.